What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy Motivational Wills. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Deep in the Trap. We back with another episode, and this time we got Alex A.T. Thomas, the owner of Nexus Sound Studio. What he gonna do is show us how he built a business that's lasted more than 10 plus years, and also he's gonna bring in his manager to show us how he's able to manage these businesses to keep these guys sustainable. Let's welcome my guy Alex to the trap.
Appreciate it.
How you doing, brother?
Good. How about you?
Man, I'm blessed, brother. First of all, I'm blessed to be in your presence, and also I want to thank you, bro, for giving us the time. Because like I said, I know you could have been doing something else, especially with, you know, running a couple studios and all the different entities you got involved with this. So first of all, tell us again, you know, your name, and then tell us a little bit about like where you come from, a little bit about your background.
I'm Alex Thomas. Most people call me AT. I started doing music when I was in high school with some friends. Studio was at my buddy's house, and we got kicked out of there. His mom wasn't having it, so the studio ended up being at my house, which was like a microphone hanging from the ceiling, a little laptop with the cord all taped up to hold it in place to get the connection, or else it would be cutting out. It was a pretty rough setup. We was in the little closet at my mom's house, and you know, have friends come over and be rapping, and when they leave, I'd be up all night messing with it, and you know, I just fell in love with engineering, and I started making beats, and it just took off from there. You know, I went to school for it. After I got out of high school, I went to the recording workshop down in Chillicothe, Ohio, and when I got done there, I did an internship like immediately afterwards out in Akron at one of the biggest studios out there, and I worked out there for like a year and a half before quitting to open up the first studio. That was 2009. We opened Nexus Sound Studio, this location in Warren.
All right, so along that line though, when did like the business part come in? Like, because you said, and I like the fact that, because most people start off like that, they don't see the vision behind it. Like you said, we started off with the tape wrapped around the mic and started in the closet and this and the third. Some people like nah, this ain't gonna work. This ain't, you know what I mean? I don't got what he got. I ain't starting with it. Like, so where was the mindset? Where did the mindset come from? Like around high school too. That's like one of the most distractionist. You got all the girls, you got your friends. Like, so where does the mindset come from to like to stick with it?
Well, there's a lot of business owners in my family, like, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs from my dad, my mom, my grandpa. And even when I was 15 years old, I really started my first business doing landscaping, and it was me and my buddy, and we had flyers out and everything. He was working for me, and, you know, did that for a little while. And so it was kind of just in my blood to, you know, start a business really, and you know, seeing what they had going on in Akron, and it was really just the community that really drove me to want to start the studio. You know, here in Warren, it was like everybody was just kind of doing their own thing. A lot of people were beefing, and you know, it was no collaboration. And working out in Akron, it was like every day sessions would be back to back, and the next person would come in and be like, man, hey, this is dope. Like, you know, you know, they exchange numbers. Next time I see them, they're doing a song together, you know? So it was like that, you know, sense of community, and they're working together, then they're doing a whole projects together, and it was just like nothing like that really going on around here.
Relationships being built.
Exactly.
What you're doing.
And I saw that as the biggest problem around here. You know, there was a lot of people doing music, but there wasn't that scene, that, you know, collaboration, you know, people working together. And you know, when I started Nexus, you know, I was coming up with a name for it. That's what really drove me to, and how I came up with the name Nexus. Nexus, it means a gathering place, or it means a connection to more things. So really, like, going off of what I wanted the studio to represent is how I came up with the name. And you know, it just, that's been our goal from the beginning, and still is to take artists to the next level, and have that community where people collaborate, and it's just a, judgment-free zone. People come in and they can meet new people and build their network and their portfolio and get, top of the line work.
Right. What were some of the principles that your dad installed into you, like around maybe those younger years, teenage, high schoolish days, that maybe you use now to in your business that you want to share with it?
So my dad is a perfectionist. He doesn't do anything unless it's like done to perfection. And one of the best things that he ever told me that I'll never forget is anything worth doing is worth doing right. And that's just stuck with me. So it's like, we're not about just throwing things together just to get them done. And, it's always about the quality. And, there's clients that want to just get things done quickly, and we do the best to make sure regardless that everything that leaves here is going to sound good. Our engineers go through a lot of training to make sure that they can get a good sounding mix in a short amount of time for that reason, because there's a lot of people that just want to move quickly, and but we really stress to people that, like, if you want to sound like what's on the radio, or if you want to have your song on the radio, you really need to mix it and master it properly, or you're going to go through a lot of things and radio stations aren't going to accept it because the mix isn't right. And a lot of what we do too, besides like providing the recording and stuff, is really like showing people the proper way things are done, because in this area there's not a lot of example of that. There's not a lot of people to look to for that guidance and the right path to take, like there is in the bigger cities. So I've taken all the things that I've learned over the years, and we really try and pass that knowledge on.
Yeah, so I can totally agree with that, especially as far as the work you guys put out. Like far as even when I was doing music with you guys, I know you guys like to over deliver on a lot of the things that you do. But also, like, when did you know, like before you made the purchase of the first building, like how did you know, like, all right, that's it, like I got something? Like, did you start making some type of revenue, like, and where did that revenue start coming from? Go ahead.
I wasn't really making revenue. Well, I was working at a studio in Akron, and my internship was supposed to be a couple months long, and it ended up being like a week and a half, and he's like, yeah, you're ready to go. And just started putting me with clients, and the first couple sessions were a little bit rough. I was nervous and getting the hang of things and the workflow when somebody's really paying and they want things done quickly. But I got into it very quickly and had a nice client base, right from the jump. And I just saw what the potential could be, and even when I went to school for it, like, I would really paid attention and studied how studios were built, and that was a small part of the program. And I always wanted to build a studio. I had drawings on drawings of different studio layouts in my books, and so it was kind of like always in the cards. And I had some family things going on. My grandpa had passed away, and I was driving out to Akron every day and going to school out in Kent, and it was just a lot, and family needed help and me to be around more, so it just made sense. There was no studios around here that I was going to work at and be at the level that I was there. So I just put together everything I had. I had been building my studio equipment a little bit, over the years, and, had a pretty nice home setup. So it was just, I don't know, felt meant to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And right from the jump, the day we opened, we had a booking the very first day, and I got a lot of clients very quickly because we were the only really professional studio. There was a couple, you know, home studios that were, you know, professional, but nothing like this in the area. So, you know, a lot of people were drawn to it quickly.
Right. And don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Also hit that notification bell. That way you notify every time we drop a video, and also help us keep bringing on entrepreneurs like Alex A.T. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
So look, check this out. It's gonna be some, like, our main audience is like they between like 23 and 34, something like that. That's our main audience. And there's gonna be somebody watching this. They gonna be like, oh, this dope, this sweet. I like what he's talking about. But show them how can they get started in this business, like in startup costs. Like, what you recommend them to start with? Like, I know you started with the duct tape and the, you know what I mean?
I mean, you can start from anywhere. Like, it just goes to show, you know, it obviously does take some investment to start a business, but you know, there's a lot of people that actually start taking it. I guess I really did start in my mom's house. Like, I was 20 and I moved shortly after that, but you know, while I was building this, I started taking sessions in my house, and it was you know, just a continuous build of business.
Hold on one second. So basically, like this, he gonna get this, giving y'all a step-by-step formula. It's cool to start in the house if you got to. If you got that extra room or you got a spare room and you really serious about it, you don't gotta start right here.
Yeah.
But you can have a mindset and start laying out a foundation and a blueprint, start writing out your goals and start, you know, marking stuff off and whatnot, and work your way up to this. So that's the first step. You can start right there, little to no cost. Just maybe investing in your equipment.
Yep. And I mean, I think the first step of any business is to build your skills and your knowledge. That's what really set me apart and let me get a jump start and really, you know, get into the business and get the clients quickly, is because I had the knowledge. You know, it's a lot of people have the mentality where they don't want to work for somebody else, but my time working in Akron made a big difference in my career, because, you know, I saw how a professional studio is really operating, the things that you needed to have, you know, the way that things should work, because school only teaches you so much. Like, when we do internships for new engineers, you know, we have people that have went to 4-year colleges for engineering, and people that have done, you know, couple-month programs, and some that have done no schooling, but they've really put the time in and learned the knowledge themselves, you know, online or whatever. And I think the knowledge and skills is over everything. You know, once you have that, then it's easy to be successful in business. You know, there's a lot of aspects to running a business, but you can get help with all those. You know, there's people that can do all the other things, accounting or whatever you need, but knowing your business and really doing the research and knowledge and making a business plan too. You know, that was a big part of it. Is I didn't just jump into this and like spend a bunch of money on equipment and not have a plan on how it was going to work. Like, I did a business plan and knew what my costs were going to be, what I, you know, on a low end, like if I had, you know, 4 hours a day, I could, you know, break even to make the money that I needed to make to pay it off in a certain amount of time, you know. So it's like anything above that was profit. But really just laying everything out and having a clear-cut plan on how you're going to succeed. Because if you go into something, and especially a business, with no plan, it's going to be hard to succeed. And the other thing is promotion. So, you know, promotion is key in any business. When I started out, before we opened up, 2 weeks before, I was at every show, passing out flyers, talking to every artist that I could. and we could continue to do that. Anytime I didn't have sessions on the weekends, or when I had interns and new people working for me, I made sure that if there was a show going on, someone was there talking to people and passing out flyers. That's where a lot of people, I feel, fall short in business in general,
and putting in that legwork,
especially in music, in this field. Like I tell people all the time, the promotion is key. Like a lot of people who just keep recording songs, and or they'll get a music video done, put a bunch of money into this music video and getting a song mixed and mastered right, and then they just drop it on Facebook and think that it's just going to go viral, and that's like a 1 in a billion chance that that's actually going to happen. Like the people that you see that you think that happened for, most of the time that's not how it happened. Like there was promotion behind it that you're not seeing, or there was a long time of putting out a lot of content that build up to them getting in the algorithm and getting the followers slowly over time, and then you see them, and you're like, oh, this person came out overnight. Like, they just blew up out of nowhere. No, they've been grinding for the last 10 years, putting in the work. But promotion and the marketing is key, It really depends on the type of business that you have. Like, I was, lucky enough to, we've done marketing campaigns, over the years, but nothing like huge. Most of our business is by word of mouth, and that goes a long way. Really, like goes beyond everything else, and that's where the quality and professionalism comes into play. Because if you give somebody a good product and you are professional and you make sure that they're happy every time, then they're going to tell other people, and other people are going to want to work with you too. That is, one of the biggest keys to my success and the success of Nexus, is just making sure every client is happy.
All right, so you dug into a lot of the how you got to where you is. Like, so talk about some of the ways that, mind you, we can't start a marketing campaign. We ain't working with a lot of money. We trying to figure it out still. So let's talk about some of the ways to go start getting some of these clients. Like, where you think of social media? You think I should start hanging out at a certain spot, or what you thinking?
As far as starting a studio?
Yeah, just we just getting our feet wet. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just we still at the house, remember?
So as far as starting a studio, I started this business in 2009 when I was 20, and it was a different time. Social media isn't what it is now. So back then, flyers was the number one way, and being at shows and personally talking to people, not just putting a flyer up on the wall somewhere and hoping someone sees it, is that personal relationship, connecting with somebody, goes further than anything. That connection and having a real conversation with people, asking about their music, being at their performance and telling them what you like about their performance, or if there's something they can work on. Now with social media, the game has changed, and it's really all about content. Now, I'm not saying, like, if you're on a budget and you don't have the ability to film a bunch of videos or whatever, really flyers are still very effective when you're using them, or business cards even. It's really that networking and going out and talking to people. There's been like some of our biggest clients, they didn't come to the studio. I personally reached out to them and was like, I like you as an artist. I think that you should come check us out, and we can really elevate your sound and take you to the next level. And once they have come, then they don't go anywhere else.
I was just about to say, that's so powerful what you just said, as far as to the reaching outside.
Yeah.
So many people afraid of the word no, afraid to be rejected, that they don't reach out. I ain't gonna lie to you. Just because you said that, that's one of my key strategies. That's how I get some of my interviews. I'm not just on social media looking to say, oh, that girl cute. Oh, he got a nice chain. I'm looking to see, damn, I like what he doing.
Yeah.
Well, let me follow him. Let me follow him. Now I'm watching. All right, now I'm in his DM. What's up, bro? This what I do, blah, 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 blah. If you interested, what's up? Some people, and then you got to get a little bit, be patient, too.
Yeah.
Because some people, like, especially when you really got something going on, you really, as y'all say, having some motion, people not going to get right back to you. You know what I mean? It might take them a week or two, or a day or two or something. But that is key, man. Do not be scared to get in people's DMs and inboxes, especially if you got something that you could show. Like, that's what I do.
Yeah.
If I'm in your inbox or your DM, I'm just like, my guy behind the camera, he gave me this idea. He said, bro, start dropping the reels when you reaching out to him, show them what you doing.
Yep.
They calling me instantly, like, oh, what's up, let's get on.
Exactly.
So that's powerful, man.
Yeah, the networking is key in any business. Really, you can't just expect people to find you and come to you. With a big marketing budget, and you can do that and sit back and do nothing and let your ads do the work. But if you don't have the money to put into marketing, and really ultimately, I feel like that personal connection and talking to people and, showing that appreciation for what they do is going to be way more effective in this type of business. In a creative aspect. Showing somebody appreciation for their work goes a long way. It's different for every business, but definitely in this business, the connection and just talking to people and networking is one of the biggest things.
Now that we in the doors, right? So we in the doors, we getting our clients together. Like, give us some skills or some tactics, or right now we're not even thinking about a Nexus Sound studio, but we thinking about where we at right now. Like, what would be some skills or some tactics that as I'm bringing these clients in, that I'm keeping them?
As far as recording studio?
Yep.
Just being able to produce quality sound. It's the equipment is a big part of it, but ultimately it's the mixing skills and your engineering skills that are going to set you apart. Because there's a lot of big studios that have great equipment and sound quality, but it really comes down to the mix. Like, your vocals can sound good, the recording of them, but if they're not mixing the beat right, then it doesn't matter. People don't understand, a lot of times, that how important the mix is. It's not just having a good quality. Like, they'll want to come in and record a song as quick as possible, move on to the next one, and not give you time to mix. And I have to stress to them, like, this mix is going to make the biggest difference, whether this is like an okay song or if it's a great song. Like, it's your lyrics and your performance and the beat are huge, but that could all be great, and if the mix is not right, then it's not going to go anywhere. Because if you're trying to push for radio or anything like that, they're not going to accept it, for one. But also, what really gave me a jump start too was, like, no one in this area when I started out were doing any kind of really vocal effects and beat chops and stuff like that. Like, that was something that I really learned when I worked out in Akron, and bringing that here, it was like a whole new sound for this area. No one had ever worked with someone that was chopping up the beat and, putting a bunch of effects on their vocals, like delays and, stutters and things like that. So that really set me apart, and also them not having to ask for it. Because a lot of people have things in their mind, and the way that we work is we have like a separate mix that's going on in the headphones than we have going on in the control room. So we can be doing a lot of things out here that you don't hear when you're in the booth recording.
That's crazy.
And so you're just hearing everything kind of flat, so you can hear yourself on every track. And the beat will just be, you know, normal beat. But out here, I'm chopping up the beat, you know, putting drops, putting stutters, doing a bunch of things. So when someone walks out the booth and it sounds like a polished track damn near already, they're like, oh my God, like, you know, and I'm doing effects that they're like, I was gonna tell you to do that. How'd you know to do that? Like, you know, that goes a long way with people, and that really just comes down to like reading people. You know, I can tell from a beat even what kind of beat it is, whether most of the time whether they're gonna want auto-tune on it. If you know, if they like a lot of chops, or if they're performing something a certain way, I can hear if it's going to sound good with like a low harmony on it, you know, like a chop and screwed behind it. And when I hear things like that, I just do them, you know. If they don't like it, take it off, you know. But when they come out and hear it and already had that in their mind, like, it's, you know, you have that connection with artists where you already know what they're thinking. That's when they don't want to go anywhere else, because they don't have to tell you anything. You already know where they're going with their music, the sound that they want,
right,
the kind of effects that they want. And once you have that connection with an artist, they don't want to go anywhere else and have to tell the engineer everything that they want done. And, you know, it's just a different experience when you find that connection with an engineer. And
yeah, you're right. So listen, another thing too, I'm gonna tell y'all, don't be afraid, because you started with some of your friends, but you ended up venturing off. But don't be scared to reach out to people too. Like, just say, for instance, you might not be good at engineering, or you might not be good at this and that and the third. It might be, well, I don't even know, it might be. There's somebody out there, trust me, that'll partner with you if you got a good vision.
Yep.
And also, another thing he spoke on is he recognized that wasn't nobody else doing vocals. That's what you said, right? Or was it vocals?
The effects.
Oh, yeah, wasn't nobody else doing the vocal effects. So listen, I'm gonna give y'all a gem real quick. That's one of the biggest ways to have a competitive advantage on your competitors, is either to be different, to do it first, or to do it better.
Yep.
Those three ways: to do it first, do it better, or do it different. And he just kind of said that in the when he was talking.
Yep.
So I hope y'all really taking notes, man, because he is killing it. So now let's talk about for sure you is, bro. So let's talk about some of the risks now. Let's talk about some of the risks. Now I got one more question. Yep. Do you think this is a good idea for these people that's coming in? Because you spoke a lot about the knowledge part. So when you were saying that, I was thinking like maybe it might be just good for them to maybe get them maybe 1 to 5 clients, loyal clients, dedicated clients, and perfect those sounds, play with different sounds with them, even ask those artists or whoever they dealing with, like, hey, can I mess around with your beat? Can I play with it? Like, you think that's a good idea for them, just to maybe start with just not trying to, because sometimes people try to grow too fast. They feel like they got to have 50 clients, they got to have 30 clients. But I'm looking at it like, start with a handful, perfect it.
Yep.
Perfect it. Let those be your testimonials. You know what I mean? Then you market to a broader audience. And you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely put in a lot of free work over the years. If it was, you know, even to get an artist to see the difference and hear the difference in what it sounded like when something was actually mixed, because, you know, a lot of people just want to get it done and they think it's a finished track when we only spent 15 minutes mixing it. And I'm like, you know, a real mix can take a couple hours, and mastering it is like the final polish. But it's the subtle differences a lot of times that make the biggest difference. You know, it's like the finishing work in most fields is what really sets you apart. You know, the little things make a big difference. And I mean, the more people you work with, the better you're gonna get. Because you could have one person's sound or a couple people's sound down great, but what really like takes you to the next level is when you're working with different people all day long, and you have to really adjust for every person that comes in, and every song is different, every voice is different. That's where you really grow, like as an engineer, is having to do all these different voices and different types of beats, and figuring out how to do effects on these different types of music, to where it sounds good and is cohesive with the genre or whatever. But back to having a couple clients, if you want to move forward, is if you only have a couple clients and they're just doing a quick mix and pushing the songs out, there's been a lot of times where I've mixed a song for free to show them the difference, and once they hear the difference, oh wow, like now I sound like I should be on the radio right now. Right. Then they're gonna get the tracks mixed every time, and now you also have example work that you can send out to other people, because you don't want to send unfinished work as your example when you're trying to get new clients. So it's good to start off with a couple clients, but you want to make sure that work is phenomenal, that it's quality. A great example for you to get new business. And if you really have good examples and you're taking the steps to reach out to people and send your example mixes out to people, you're gonna get the business. Yeah
Man, wow. So again, let's talk about some of the risks that come with this business.
So I will say, a lot of people think that running a studio is easy because they only see the fun side of it in the studio, working with clients, making music, but there's a lot that goes into it that people don't see. Maintenance is a huge thing. We have a lot of expensive equipment, and just the upkeep on things, and studio equipment breaks a lot, and you got to make sure you have some money set aside to get it fixed when it breaks, because a lot of things you can't go without. Like if one of our monitors goes out, we're pretty much dead in the water until we get a new one. And each one of those monitors they're $1,800 a piece, or they're more than that now. They're like $2,300 a piece for each speaker. So it's things like that you have to account for, because if you start a business and then something happens to a piece of your equipment that's necessary and you don't have the funds to replace it, then you're stuck. So it's things like that you need to think about, and also knowing, back to the knowledge of how to properly take care of the equipment, because if you don't take care of it properly, you're going to have a lot of issues. And I've learned a lot over the years, new skills that I didn't think that I would need. That things come up and you either got to pay somebody to fix it, or you got to figure out how to fix it on your own and get it done. I do a lot of things myself, and the team here, we figure out a lot of things and just make it happen.
So let's talk about the selling part now, the selling too, because I feel like even in this business you got to learn how to upsell, because it starts with just somebody coming in and record.
Yep.
But then we got the what's next? Is it the mixing next, or is it another step before that?
Mixing and then mastering.
Then mixing and mastering.
Yep.
So you got to also learn how to package it right.
Yep.
And learn how to sell it, and learn how to upsell it.
Yep. Right.
You don't want to just so the best thing to do is take the time and get the knowledge. Cause like even just what he was saying, as far as when stuff break or when this happened, he said a lot of stuff he could do on his own. And when you got that knowledge and you could take on the responsibility to do it on your own, now you keeping the overhead costs down. Like now you could put more money back into the business.
Exactly.
Because now I ain't got to pay John and them $100 an hour to come snoop around my computers. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So the education part, I think that might have been the most key part, because all this technology you're dealing with, like all this stuff, like it's just a lot that comes with it. So if you're really, really serious about it, I say you should educate yourself, and you can self-educate yourself. It's a lot of books, it's a lot of courses. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I didn't make it past the 9th grade in school. I'm just being real, and y'all know where I come from. I come from the streets. Like, but over the past few years since I got out the streets, I learned to self-educate myself. That's how I'm able to do a podcast like this, and I ain't got to talk about street stuff, and I know the questions to ask to help somebody else build their businesses.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's all self-education from reading books and stuff. So let's talk about where you plan on seeing the company in the next 5 years.
So plan to continue to grow. You know, we've got some bigger plans, and expanding. I don't want to go
No, for sure.
too much into that, but continue.
Can I ask this?
Yeah.
We got is it a third location coming?
We'll see, maybe.
For sure. All right.
There's this area is small, and if we do another studio, it's not going to be in this immediate area. We have 2 studios now, 2 separate locations. Mm-hmm. They're about a half hour apart from each other. So this area we have pretty well covered. So if we do another studio, it'll be a little bit further away. But there's a lot of things just continuing to grow in the space that we have. And right now we're doing a lot with social media and, YouTube, doing interviews. We have a Drop the Mic and interview series called Bars, where we have a live Drop the Mic performance, and we have a really dope setup, LED walls and a whole lighting setup you'll see later. And then a separate interview. And that all goes back to really trying to help promote the artists too, because again, a lot of artists don't really know how to promote themselves, and that the connection also is a big thing now with social media. It's more than just the music. People want to know you, want to know about the artist,
want to know your story. They want to know if you live in what you're talking about.
Exactly. And the interview series that we do is, it lets people know more about the artist, things that they're not going to necessarily find out on social media, on their Instagram or something like that, and those things really will get you more of a cult following. People, when they really connect with you and your lifestyle, how you live, the things you talk about, whatever, outside of the music, I think that's more when you're going to get the loyal fans that are at every single one of your shows and are going to buy every piece of merchandise you put out, So I think that goes a long way, and that's what we're really trying to do. And then we also have a new series, Wild Cards. That's an interview series that's kind of really pulling out people's things that they may not normally talk about, but when you're it's like 3 people at a poker table and they're pulling cards with questions, and when they're in that environment and they're talking with this small group of people about it, it opens up a little bit more when they can conversate and they realize these other people have the same feelings about something that they do, and it sparks a conversation and it opens them up to talk about it more in depth that they wouldn't normally talk about it. So it's a really cool series. We just launched that. And then we also have our IRL videos. We have Nexus IRL on Instagram that is videos in the studio. We have web cameras set up in the control room and in the booth, and I've never seen anybody do it before. I've seen people in their house showing them live recording and, you know, doing their song over. And that's what kind of sparked the idea.
Pretty much
I
like
was
coaching?
No, not really coaching. It's just live moments from in the studio. And, you know, that's something that most people don't get to see. And artists only release so much of the music that they actually record. And, you know, because there's a lot that goes into the release of it, getting the artwork done, like, and planning the release and then promoting it. And a lot of artists will make a bunch of songs, and then before they put them out, they have so many new songs that they're like, these old songs, I'm not even going to put them out. I've got better songs, because they're old to the artist. Once you hear a song so many times, they're just playing it all the time, and it gets old to them. But for everybody else, it's a brand new song, right. You know? And that's like a reoccurring theme with pretty much everybody that we work with. You know, so many songs go unreleased that are great songs. And so with IRL videos, we cut up pieces from their sessions and just post little snippets, you know, 4 or 8 bars, sometimes a whole verse or whatever. And, you know, it's just promotion for the artists, and it shows people how much these artists are really in the studio working, because they may only drop a project or a single like once every 6 months, but they recorded 50 songs in that time, you know, and just those little snippets, a lot of people, they're finding that people love this song that they may have not put out otherwise, and people are loving it, and then it becomes their top single.
Right.
It's a weird thing, like with music in general, a lot of times the things that you put the most amount of time into and really put your heart and soul into, like I've had beats that I've spent, you know, days working on, and I'm playing them through people. I'm like, you're gonna like this one. They're like, oh, that's cool. And then I'll play the next one that I was just like a melody that I started, didn't finish the beat, and they're like, oh, wait, go back. That's the one right there. This is the one, you know. And I'm like, but it's not even done. Like I spent like 20 minutes on it. Oh, I need this, you know. And it's the same way with people's music. It's like they'll put their heart and soul, and it's like their favorite song because it means something to them. They put so much time into it. But then there's like the songs that they just freestyled in, you know, the last bit of time they had in the session or whatever, and it's like they didn't put that much time into it, so they don't think it's like that great or whatever. Then people hear it and it's like, what, this is the one, you know, this is my favorite song. Like so you never really know how, like, what's gonna connect with people. So, you know, we post nothing but like good content from their time in the studio, just little snippets, and it's just we do it for free. I eat all the costs of it, and it's not cheap. It's a process putting these together, and we post them on all of our social media platforms, and we tag the artists in all of them, and it's not an easy process. It's a bit harder than what I envisioned when I started it out, but you know, it has brought us new business because people want to be on the platform now. And that's the whole thing, is we're trying to create a platform here that we can help promote artists, because, you know, there's a lot of platforms like the hip hop blogs and stuff like that, and you know, YouTube channels that people will drive from other states to go to Atlanta or whatever to get on these platforms, because they have all these people putting this stuff on their platform, and it creates a hub where they can get new following and touch new fans. And that's what we're really trying to work on creating here. So that's the biggest project expansion wise that I'm working on right now, is, you know, all these different series, and you know, the social media, just making that hub so artists here can promote their stuff properly and reach that bigger audience.
That's dope, man, because at the end of the day, it ain't about you. It's about the audience, bro, and that's
Yep,
why you won here, bro. So what do I ask everybody this at the end? What do trust, relationships, accountability, principles mean to you? Let's start with trust.
Trust goes, a long way. It can be hard to trust people, but I don't know, my whole business and my relationship with my employees or, all my engineers is trust. Like, I try not to micromanage too much. It's just building that trust and allowing them to be their own person and be their own engineer, but knowing that I can count on them. And with clients, like, if you're a client here, you know that we're going to do everything in our power to take care of you and make sure that your stuff is being done right. And they put a lot of trust into us. People's music is their baby,
Sacred
and they put their trust in us to give them a good product, and we make sure we deliver every time, and if there ever is a problem, then we make sure we take care of that, because trust is huge. We need our clients to trust us and know that we're going to do what we say we're going to do and deliver when we say we're going to deliver and give them the best product that we can every time.
What about relationships?
Relationships, huge, like we talked about earlier. Networking. I will say I'm not like the best networker, a lot because I'm just busy all the time, and I don't maybe make enough time to like network at this point. But I've met a lot of people in this industry that may not have the skills per se, like as other people that I've met or myself or my engineers, but the right relationships and the right networking has put them in some very good positions,
Right.
So that goes a long way, networking and building relationships with people can be a make or break for you to have that big break,
Yeah. Accountability.
Accountability, like I said, we make sure that we're always giving the artists what they pay for and more. And if that's not achieved, if they feel that's not achieved, then I'm going to own up to that and make sure it is done right, or figure out why they, their expectations weren't met. And sometimes it's their expectations were not realistic. You know what I mean? There's people that will come in and have a 2-hour session and be like, I want to record 10 songs. And it's like, if you add up this time, that's like, you got 10 minutes per song. They're like, yeah, I can just one take every one of these songs. And like, that's not how you record a song. If you're trying to like
I used to try to do stuff like that.
If you're trying to like throw together like a scratch take for something or whatever, maybe like, but that's not how songs are recorded, so sometimes people's expectations are unrealistic, and I have to tell them like that's not how things work. Like, it's not realistic if you want a quality sound,
right.
And but I always take accountability if something isn't right. If it's one of our engineers, something didn't meet someone's expectation that was realistic and it should have been met, then I'm going to make sure that we meet that, whether it's having them come back in and re-record it, or whatever we need to do to make sure they're happy at the end of the day. I take care of that.
Principles. Man, I always say principles always circle back down to accountability, but if you want to add on to it.
I guess principles is really just like when you have a business and when you have people working under you or with you, and you're trying to be a leader, or you are a leader, you need to set a guidelines of what's expected. You know, I guess I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but you know,
you good. You on point. You on point.
If they don't know what you expect from them, then you're not going to get the best out of them.
Right.
You know,
right.
The setting goals and expectations goes a long way. When people have something to strive for or something they know they need to meet, you know, it makes clear expectations and principles, I guess, for everybody involved.
That's fair. Man, Alex A.T. Thomas, man, you did amazing, bro. I know you.
Thank you.
Like you gave somebody enough gems to get started for sure. Because if I really wanted to get into the studio industry, I know what to do. Yep. Great thing I don't. But so I'm glad that you was able to sit down with us, bro, and take the time out, and not only for us but for our audience. You know, I mean, that's the most important thing is the audience. We want to help them get started and help them, you know, find, because like bro, some people don't know where to get started at. Yeah. They don't know how to get started, or they think it's impossible. They think they gotta start with the big. No, you don't. So thank you for that, bro. No problem. Before you get out there, tell the people how can they get in contact with you, social medias, locations, phone numbers, like however somebody can get in touch with you, let them know.
Okay. So you can find Nexus Sound Studio on all platforms, just under Nexus Sound Studio, NEXUS Sound Studio. We have the Nexus IRL Instagram that we post the IRL videos that we were talking about. That's Nexus_IRL, and our TikTok and YouTube, you know, are all under Nexus Sound Studio. You can give us a call at 330-503-4965 for our Young Sound Studio, and 330-503-4935 for our Warren Studio. And you can call or text. My personal Instagram is Alex_AT_Thomas, and I have a lot of example work on there as well for audio and video. We didn't really, you know, get too much into that, but that's, you know, a whole other aspect of our business. And
we'll do a part two. We can do a part two.
And one thing I wanted to say earlier, you know, the biggest thing when starting a business, or especially not even a business, but trying to get into a creative field of any kind, I tell people, because I get this question a lot, is, you know, how to get started. They don't know where to start, and I tell people you just have to dive into it 100%. It's really hard to do a million other things and just do what you really want to do, like, you know, every couple weeks or whatever. It's any free time you have. And, you know, I know people have responsibilities and bills, they still have to work, but it's making sacrifices of, you know, not watching TV or going out with your friends, to sit in front of the computer and learn the things that you need to learn, and practice. You know, practice makes perfect. And when I started this business, I didn't go out or do anything for really at all for a couple years. Wow. I was in the studio all day, every day. You know, I just dedicated my life to it, and that's how I got great at it. You know, it's putting your all into it, and I think that's the best way to succeed, is just, if you really are dedicated and have the drive. And the biggest thing too for anything, when I'm looking for a new employee or whatever, is drive. Like, it goes beyond the skills. If you have the drive to learn something, you can learn it. You know, I've met a lot of talented people that have the talent, but they don't have the drive to do anything with it. And I've met a lot of people that had the drive, but may not have, you know, had the talent when they started out, but they learned it. You know, they figured out the things they had to do, and you know, made themselves successful at it. And that is the biggest thing for anybody, is having the drive to do it. You can do anything you set your mind to if you have the drive to do it.
Man, thank you, brother.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Now we got my guy Keith Kelly, the manager of Nexus Sound Studio. He gonna give y'all the game and show y'all how to manage this thing so you can keep your things in order and keep everything structured, man. What's going on, Keith? How you doing, bro?
How you doing, man? It's good to see you again.
Man, yeah, you already know, bro, always. Tell them, like I said, tell them a little bit about, you know, where you come from and a little bit about your background, man.
I come from just like the band world, playing guitar in metal bands my whole life, since I was probably 15 years old. Always had a draw to the guitar, then turned into bass guitar because we could just never find a bass player. And it just went like that. So I was like, well, we got to fill the role. So I fell in love with that, and then, you know, we just always had bands as kids, and always had to figure out how to like record ourselves. I was always that guy. We're like, well, we got to record somewhere.
Right.
I do remember trying to find this place in 2009, and we had the wrong street, and me and my band were driving around trying to find Alex's studio. Didn't even realize that, but it was pretty funny. We was like in another town looking for it. Yeah, but his marketing brought us here too. Actually, he touched on that point, and he was at a show that I was running sound for a bunch of bands, and I had my first sound system out, and he had a booth set up with Nexus, and it was like he was running a contest about you know, put your, you know, band up for a free recording. You know, I won the recording, so we got to come in here, and I was like, man, this isn't even the same time we was looking for this. So we got to see the studio, brought the band in, he recorded everything. It was super dope. We had a good experience, and then I knew him from high school. We went to the same high school, we was in the same friends, everything. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, why am I not working here or something? Like, what is going on? I'm like I'm managing a restaurant, this and that. I got all these, you know, commitments and that, and I was just over that life. So it was like, you know, one of them things where music was taking over, and I was at a point in my life where I had to like back it off and take the other route of like, do this job this way. Because they're getting pissed. You know what I mean? They were not having, you know, all my time off with the bands, doing shows, doing this. So there was like, it's time to either, you know, manage this business or you manage your own business. And I came to Alex and I was like, you know, I'm trying to go this way. This is what's calling me. This is what's always been calling me. I need to do this shit. And it just went from there. Because, and I was also one of them kids with no schooling. Because, kids, work, life, but always had the band, always in the trenches with my own computer, just trying to figure it out with, you know, what I had, the people around me, learning from all the guys I meet in the scene over the years, you know, like taking a piece from everybody, because, you know, like you said, every engineer is different. Like when you meet different, everything's different because you meet different people, you go through different times of life, but you know, he always laid out the gold standard to follow. Like there's like a roadmap to follow, but you can still be yourself as long as you're following the map. You know what I mean? So
long as your goals and the company's goals align with each other.
Exactly.
So what were some of the things you would say Alex taught you? Or that you learned from him over the course of since you've been with him?
His quality control is out of control. Honestly, it's like some of the best. Like. And I've always had that mentality just from being a management in restaurants, and I was just like always like held to a standard. So I transferred that to here, and it was just like he has the work ethic of $1 million corporation. You know what I mean? He just taught, he gave me all the game from the technical side of things that I didn't get to school for. No, my internship was a lot longer than most because I had nothing coming in but drive and the will to just do it. I already had, you know, this is what I'm doing. Like, I can't do nothing else. I don't want to do nothing else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Music has always been a passion. Like, and when I work with the clients, it's like, you know, since I'm an artist too, I think it's different. It's like, I understand what it's like to be on the other side. I was going to other studios getting my stuff recorded. So I had all these different engineers along the way that I met who just did things differently. And, you know, the hip hop and the metal world's slightly different. The way you got to record like live instruments, aggressive instruments, guitars, bass, drums. You know, it's a whole different, you know, some engineers I've met have never done that and they never will. They don't want to. They're not interested in it. It's not something that you know what I mean? Like, it's just different. So it's like, I try to give the best of both worlds, you know what I mean? Because I love hip hop, always have, but I'm a metal kid at heart. So I'll like secretly sprinkle in all my little metal tricks onto people's hip hop, and they don't even get it, what's going on. They love it. You know what I mean? Little triplet moves, just my little drop courses, stuff like that they don't, you know, it's just like a different style. So I've studied a different style for so long, but still had so much experience in the hip hop world that, I don't know, I'm just a crazy like mutt of music. Like, everything blends. Like we do country, all of it. So I just love having like that versatility. You know what I mean? It's super fun. The studio is a fun job, and anybody who wants to do it, I highly recommend. You know, you hear a lot of horror stories, but it's a fun ride. Definitely a fun ride.
Especially with all the people you get to meet, all the people you get to help, you know, careers grow and whatnot, or relationships you get to help build. So
like, you were one of my first clients, literally. I don't know if you realize that, but you were one of them. And I loved working with you because you were different. You came in, you know, amongst your, you know, your adversity, all the stories you told about how from the streets, you just never gave up and you just came in and did it. And it was inspiring to me, being a young engineer and still not knowing like how to work with different people and stuff. And like, you were one of the first ones for sure.
That's dope.
So yeah, I like to, you know, thanks for, you know, giving me the opportunity to work with you.
For sure. And look at the tables in turn. Y'all get
it's turned out. He's sitting here and like how the tables turn. You can do anything. Like.
So tell people like some of the challenges that may come with managing this business, keeping things in order.
The challenges of managing a studio. Number one challenge: scheduling. I manage like everybody's schedule too, and clients tend to like, you know, just book stuff and not show up. They'll even pay for it and not show up. And they think that it's okay because they paid for it or they paid a deposit, but it's just not. Because now we still lost revenue for the day. The engineer still drove in. He done wasted half his time, half his block for nothing. You know, a fraction of the cost. The studio loses. You know what I mean? So we really try to force deposits. I know y'all hate that. I'm looking right in the camera and tell you, hey, you guys hate that. I'm sorry you hate that, but it's all we got to do. Like, we got to keep these doors open, and that's just what it is. It's nothing personal against the clients. You got to understand that the studio has 24 hours in a day we can book with multiple engineers. If somebody screws us on a 4-hour block, that's potentially the light bill.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, we're not trying to hate on you guys when we say we need a deposit to secure these times. We're just trying to run a professional business and keep the schedule tight and make sure everybody gets the time that they deserve. Because if I told you got a session from 12 to 4 and even you gave a deposit on it, now I told 3 other people they don't have the session. Now you didn't show up, now our studio's empty. You know, that's the biggest challenge.
They probably book somewhere else.
And then exactly, because the person who didn't book, now he booked somewhere else and he's forming a relationship with a whole nother engineer that goes back to what he said. It's all about relationships. So we want to have everybody tight, everybody in, everybody knowing their slot secure, and that's just how that goes. But that's been the biggest challenge, I think. But other than that, it's just the meeting the different types of people, knowing different genres. Because I move between genres, not just like, you know, in the same genre. Like I can do a. Like it gets funny when they cross up too, because I'll have like some really intense hip hop going on in here, and then like a country band will be right after them, and they meet up and they talk and they potentially form a relationship too. It's super cool, but like the styles are so different. You have to record them differently. the live instruments, you know, knowing how to make all that, you know, go. It's just, you know, you got to know how to move in and out of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, what's gonna work? Even in the band world, like, there's stuff I could do to try to get a performance out of somebody that I could never do with somebody else, because they just don't work that way. Mm-hmm. And if you don't understand that and be like, how do I get the best take out of this person in any genre, in anything? How am I going to get the best take out of them? Like, it's not going to work like that the same way with. So as long as you know how and understand that, how to just like really get the best out of somebody. Because the studio is all about the best source material. Like, if you let a crappy take come in, it's gonna be crappy going out.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So if you don't know how to get the best out of somebody in the different types of ways, like performance-wise takes on instruments is the same as vocal takes. You know, you can't let a guitar player go through and just play all sloppy, out of tune, strings bending, because you're not gonna be able to fix that. And they're gonna be looking at you like, why does my track sound bad? And you're like, well, you played out of tune, and you play, well, that's not on you, because you, the engineer, heard that and you let it go. So that's on you. So
I'm gonna pay attention to detail.
All the details. And that goes back to Alex's quality control. It's just like, it has to be right. And if it's not right, we make it right.
It has to be.
Has to be.
All right, so last question, Keith. Where do you see the company at in the next 5 years? Or what's your goals for the company? Because you pretty much...
you know, I see it, you know, just, you know, expanding into a more national client base. Because, you know, obviously the locals are who we love, who we work with every day. We want to like start branching out regionally, I think, and bringing bigger artists in to potentially even work with the local artists on like a show level, a feature level, getting videos. Like, the more we can bring those guys in that everybody looks up to and work with people who do. There's a lot of artists we work with who work with national artists that we work closely with and do stuff like, you know, they'll come in the studio, do features when they're doing shows. But I see it like as just the hub is just blowing up to a more national level. I see more artists, you know, if we just keep providing the platform that we're doing, and, you know, watching the podcast, like doing stuff like this, working with other podcasts, you know, Alex been, you know, this year was the day, you know, the year he had to get on the other side of the camera, and I thought that was great, because that's, I think, what we were missing. You know what I mean? Like, just talking to y'all and just letting y'all know that we're here for you, and, you know, he puts his whole life into this shit, so y'all have a place to come and have it. And I think that the whole country is going to start seeing that soon. Once we really get these shows out and the traction builds, I see people flying in, getting, you know, week-long trips just to get all the services we offer, because we can offer, you know, not just the recording, it's the recording, mixing, mastering, photo shoots, video shoots, podcasting,
program partnerships,
all of it.
Yeah, they got the whole thing.
You know, it's not just a recording studio, it's a multimedia hub. It's like a fantasy factory when you walk in. So like, whatever you can dream up, we can deliver it. So, you know, hit us up and we'll make that vision come to life like as best we can.
That's powerful, bro. Tell the people how they get in touch with you, because
I got the phones, the Warren line, 330-503-4935, the book. Instagram, Keith Kelly 330, pretty much on everything. Just hit the Nexus page up to find us too, nexussoundstudio.com. I'm all over that and Nexus IRL stuff. Like, if you want to check that out, Keith Kelly 330 on everything. Check it out.
Man, thank you, brother.
Anytime.
It's been a pleasure, man.
We appreciate you.